Very, very interesting show because the mayor, who me, I'm the mayor, Mayor Giuliani. I'm very, very reluctant to say anything and very careful. And I never just speak out and state my mind. Uh, it's really hard to get things out of me. And therefore, on America, to tell you the things that I'm too shy and reluctant to tell you on America's Mayor Live. Now, of course, that was all completely crap. And the reality is, here I feel a little more comfortable here because we're eventually going to make this. We're going to make America's Mayor confidential, but we're trying to figure out where to put it. And it's going to be a club in which we can share things with you. We're going to set up your ability to call in, and we're going to have discussions, and we're going to try to develop ideas, and we're going to try to develop programs to fix things. We're also going to use it for education. We're also going to use it so that we can do a brief but necessary course on the history of communism, so that you'll be able to see as we go through the 24 election the unbelievable influence of Karl Marx on to you by almost every current Democrat. Now, some of them know it. I'm not going to malign the intelligence of all Democrats. Some of them are extraordinarily intelligent and know exactly what they're doing. Some of them are not, and some of them are brainwashed and don't actually realize that they are serving a program that comes from a perverted, distorted, screwed up human being, Karl Marx, whose ideology has spawned probably more death than any other ideology I can think of, at least in modern times. I mean, Nazism was more confined to largely one place. So maybe if Nazism had spread, it would have done as bad a job. But communism has spread to so many places that, I mean, just in China alone, they did more damage than Hitler. I mean, China has killed 80 million of its own people in the name of communism, as well as people in other countries. You add in what Russia did to Ukraine, wipe it out. Not only now, I mean back in the late 30s and 40s when they were lying and the communists who had infiltrated the English government and American government and fooled the governments, Roosevelt's government and the government that preceded Churchill. They never fool with Churchill. I mean, they own Roosevelt. I know that's hard for Democrats. The communists owned Roosevelt. That will be part as Mayor Confidential. I will show you that. I'll demonstrate to you how they owned Roosevelt and how there was a very good chance there wouldn't have been a Cold War if there weren't the communist influence over Franklin Roosevelt. And then eventually over Truman, but more understandable with Truman because Truman, came into a situation that he hadn't scoped out. Once Truman scoped it out, he freed himself of a lot of it, but not as much as he should have, because despite the reincarnation, honestly, he wasn't that sharp a guy and easily manipulated. Had a personality that made it seem like he wasn't, but the whole situation in Korea, which the left-wing communist-oriented press spun in his tragedy, he should have taken MacArthur's advice and gone into China and wiped them out when we could. Just like Roosevelt should have taken Patton's advice and let him go into East Germany and Poland. And the reason he didn't was to give Russia a chance to come in and take what they wanted, which is clearly because of the communist influence on the Roosevelt administration. And that is clear as day and covered up by the left wing in this country. And it's not a seminal moment that leads, but their infiltration into our government going back to the 20s and 30s, well, that is the seminal moment of where we are today. We're going to show that all to you on America's Mayor Confidential as we cover the events of the day. But we're just trying to figure out the right format and the right placement for it. So remote. And when you look at it, you get the sense that maybe we have a pretty big country here, right? Look, there's Lebanon up there. There's Eilat down here. Up here is talking about it before. This it's interesting. This map must be a left-wing map because this is part of Israel. Questioned. I don't question it. The left wing questions it. This is the Golan Heights. If Israel gave up the Golan Heights, I would go protest because it would be suicide. This you can't see here. And I tried to look for a good topographical map, 3D map that will do this. I may still find one. But you got to get it. You have to go to Israel just to go to the Golan Heights and look down and get a sense of how much of Israel you can destroy from there. Syria used to possess that. And Israel didn't get that for free. They got it when they got invaded. The Syrian army, the Jordanian army, and the Lebanese army drove them all the way to Jerusalem by surprise. And within 6 days, the Israeli army drove them all the way back. They stuck Syria where they belong in Syria. They stuck Jordan where they belong in Jordan. And they stuck Lebanon where they belong in Lebanon. And they ain't been out of there since then. However, the UN, creature of Russia and China, communist and corrupt to the core, require them to put the Golan Heights in a questionable status. Israel said, no, it belongs to us. They occupy it, and it is part of Israel as far as Israel is concerned. It is not considered permanent by the UN. The UN is worthless, useless, pro-communist, pro-terrorist, and anti-American, and anti-Israel. So Golan Heights should be part of Israel, and it is. The rest of what you see in yellow is Israel. But then in here, you see what they had to give away. That's a big chunk of what they won in war. Wouldn't have given it away. Here's Jerusalem, right there. It's in Israel, but you can see it's surrounded by the Palestinian Authority, and they want it. They want it, and they want half of it. And if they get it, Christians can say goodbye to it. Bye-bye. No more Jerusalem. The chances you're going to be able to go see the Church of the Holy Sepulchre are just about as good as when they did control it. The chances of hurt it, destroy some of the great paintings, really high. Because if you think they hate the Jews, they hate the Christians as well. And they're killing Christians. And Biden doesn't give a damn because Biden... How can you give a damn about any religion? You sell out to China. I mean, a man who sells out to China is going to care about whether he's a Christian or a Jew. So this is the West Bank. This is the good Palestinian Authority. And here is If you're a Palestinian, you're not allowed in Egypt. If you're Palestinian, you're not allowed in Jordan, even though 1 million of them live there, maybe more. Even though the king of Jordan, Abdullah II, is married to a Palestinian princess. And they tell you the wife has all the power, not in that family. He doesn't want her family there. Well, I know, maybe her family can get in, but no other Palestinians. They do not want Palestinians and don't have Palestinians in Jordan. Oh, how about Syria? No Palestinians. How about Lebanon? No Palestinians. How about Iran, who supports them? No Palestinians. Like to follow it up with death to Americans. So in a country that is overwhelmed with illegals, why, in the name of God, would we take Palestinians? It isn't being Christian to take them. It's being suicidal. They want to kill you. They hate your country. We have enough people in this country that hate our country. We've got the whole Democratic Party that hates our country. We've got to have them too. We got a president who's constantly telling us that we're systemically racist, who told us that after 9/11 we acted horribly and we should apologize for it. I don't know where the hell he was. I was in New York managing the thing. I didn't see any massive reaction against people who are Arab or Muslim. I see a lot worse against Jews today. I've never seen anything like this against Muslims in America. What we're seeing about with the Jew hatred that's going on right now. Have you? I don't think there's any close to it. Ted, can we now turn this around? Because I want to show them one of the salient facts about Israel that you have to understand. And a trip to Israel is a necessity for an educated person. And I'm not going to say this is the reason why. At least a week that you've got to spend in Israel. But here's a fact that I'm going to give you without your having to go to Israel. And I think the map may allow you, and poor Ted has to do it on his own, I know.
No.
But we worked on this together.
Right? Is it right?
Ted, didn't I put this one together myself?
You did.
I just want you to know I'm not a total, like one of these old non-technical yo-yo. The president's very proud of me when he sees me go around using my iPad and remember
who the iPad?
What?
Who taught who the iPad? You both use it.
Oh, I taught him pretty much.
Yeah, you both use it.
I'm ahead of him. Yeah, he used the iPad.
I know. I see him use it for DJ.
Well, he uses it as a DJ.
You're using it all day.
I don't know. At first I wonder if he thought he maybe had to have an alternative profession. Nah, he always thought he was going to be reelected. I know that. I had a good talk with him today. I called him to offer my condolences on the death of his sister, who I knew quite well, Judge Barry. And she's a very good judge. She's really a very good judge. People think, well, she was a Trump, and she was a really, really good judge. Heck of a lot better than a lot of the judges we're dealing with now. Wow. She was like a real judge. She actually decided based on the law. So now this is the Middle East. Do we got a nice view of it? Yeah. Well, I'm going to have you look at that for a while, meaning the audience. I'm going to ask you if you can see Israel. Can you see Israel? Can you, Ted?
Right? I can't. Not with the naked eye.
Well, take a look just take a look directly at the map.
Zoom in. We'll even zoom in here for people.
See the little brown here? With that? See the little brown? And they designate the West Bank with sort of a gray or blue color or white. This here is the West Bank. But that's Israel. Now, I want you to see how many friends they have there. Syria, Assad wants to destroy them. Lebanon used to have good relations with Lebanon when it was half Christian and half Muslim, and it was a reasonable country. It's a beautiful country. It's now made up of, it's really, these two countries, Lebanon and Syria, consider them colonies of Iran, with the Hezbollah as the active army for both, and with the Iranian Guard as their trainers, their backup, and the Quds Force. But you'll get plenty of Iranians operating with them. And what they are doing now, they're leaving the bulk of the dirty work to Hamas.
Yep.
And they're kind of lobbing bombs over. I'm almost going to say just to lob them over to say they're part of it. They're not doing a serious attack on Israel. And I don't even know how much damage they're doing in terms of fatalities. But Israel's hitting them back big time. I'm going to tell you another story about them, though. There is somebody else not hitting them back and is getting pounded. We'll talk about that in a moment. So they are surrounded by Syria that would like to see them destroyed, Lebanon that would like to see them destroyed, Iran a little further away, but with two proxies right there and one down here, Yemen. In fact, one of our ships shot down a drone that came all the way up from Yemen and was headed for, shot him down somewhere in here. Came all the way up from Yemen and was headed for Israel. So these are their major enemies, right? Egypt's not really an enemy, but I mean, they're going to side with them if they have to. Saudi Arabia, not really an enemy. Maybe the cause of this war was the fact that Israel has made peace with United Arab Emirates, which is Dubai, Abu Dhabi, part of Dubai. They've made peace with Qatar. They've made peace with Bahrain. With Bahrain, right? Yep, there's a little Bahrain right there. And of course they made peace with Egypt a long time ago. They were about really to make peace with Saudi Arabia. I think Iran got very nervous about that. And that's one of the reasons for the attack on Israel now, just to shake things up. But the reality is that this rivalry, Saudi Arabia, Iran, predates all of this. Is a Persian Arab rivalry. Persian Arab. They, the Persians, believe they are better than them. More cultured, more civilized, more educated. To such an extent that they've hated each other, been at war with each other before Christ. It then got exacerbated by the fact that they disagree over the lineage of the leader of their religion, the successor of Muhammad. The Iranians are Shiites, and they believe that the leader of the religion must be a relative, trace his lineage to Muhammad. The Saudis, who are Sunni, believe that the leader of the religion can be selected. And this has created 1,400 years of warfare and real anger over the holy places of the Muslim religion. So you take the ancient hatred and you put the religious hatred in there, and then you have even the economic competition over oil, and you got a hatred that's deeper, maybe, than the hatred for Israel. Certainly deeper for the Saudis. Not the Iranians. And not the Iranian nuts. I'm not going to say the Iranian population. Remember, under the Shah, Iran had diplomatic relations with Israel. So this hatred of Israel is very much an extremist religious position, not a position that inheres in the ethnicity of the Iranian people. Again, Iran was an ally of Israel. the hatred for Israel, the anti-Semitism, the Jew hatred came about when the Ayatollah took over, and it is very much a part of their form of Islam. And although they share that in common with Syria, Iraq, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, it's of a different quality. This is much more maniacal. The hatred of Israel and the hatred of the Jewish people succumbed to peace with Egypt, succumbed to peace with UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and I think it's on its way with Saudi Arabia, depending on the outcome of what happens now. So this is just to show you what Israel faces. This is a very difficult, dangerous situation when you're that small, surrounded by this. And some of these are wealthy countries. They're countries with great wealth and for great reasons for other people to want to cooperate with them other than Israel, except for reasons of extension of human rights, the extension of democracy, the extension of respect for life, respect for culture. None of that exists in any degree really substantial other than in this little place right here. It's a beacon of democracy in an oasis of totalitarian governments. There's not a single democracy there. Not one. Even our friends are not democracy. We make allowances because you need to have friends that are sometimes dictatorships, but Saudi Arabia is a dictatorship, UAE, dictatorship, Qatar, dictatorship, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt. I mean, CCC is the government. That rhymes, doesn't it? CCC is the government. He wasn't elected. And it was a good idea that he did, because people elected were part of the Muslim Brotherhood who were ready to deliver Egypt over to the Islamic extremists. So another reason for all of what I see with our young people demonstrating for Hamas is how poorly educated they are. I don't know if they understand what I'm now explaining and saying. That they understand that Israel is Israel is probably one of the only places where those young people who are liberal with regard to sexuality would be allowed to exist. And what I mean by that is either being gay, lesbian, or accepting the fact that you had gay and lesbian friends. You're not going to have any gay and lesbian friends in the countries that you're protesting for, because they're going to kill them. Get it? Dope. They're going to kill them. Didn't your stupid professor from Harvard teach you that? Didn't they ever show you a picture of, I've seen plenty of pictures of what goes on in Iran because of the MEK. And this woman who's a spy in the Biden administration damn well better go to prison because she was spying on the MEK. And she got caught today or the day before. And the MEK is one of our one hopes for taking Iran back. Because unlike the Palestinian Authority, this little thing here, this place, Iran, over the last 5 years has had protests. See how big it is? In every city in Iran. Those cities, I know all those cities. I haven't been to them, but I've seen them on video many times. And I bet you wonder how, and I'm not going to tell you. I've seen the demonstrations in there. I've seen them on tape, and I've seen them live. I've seen demonstrations up in here, this place, Rasht, in which they were holding signs, we want Trump. How about down in Bandar? Kill the Ayatollah. Yeah, they killed the guy with the sign. Another guy picked it up. all over Iran, there's a protest movement against the Ayatollah, against the mullahs, against the dictatorial government in which they live. And Biden and Obama turned their backs on them. And Trump embraced them. And we get Trump back, they'll be back. And they're still there. They're still protesting, and they're still getting killed. And there are people within the Biden administration helping the regime and hurting them. It's a very, very sick administration. It was a terrible mistake we made. And we, you and me, are going to do everything we can to reverse it. So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow with America's Mayor live.
7 p.m.
We're questioning 7 or 8.
Comment below. Comment. Let us know what you think if we should.
But you tune in at 7 and we'll let you know if we're going to be on at 7 or we may be on at 8. We're going to see. We're going back and forth here, and we're trying to figure out what to do with America's Mayor Confidential, whether we should do it at a different time. But in any event, America's Mayor Live is going to be on at 7 or 8. So figure 7 tomorrow. But Ted and I may decide to flip a coin and try 8 o'clock.
So tune in tomorrow.
Take care. And also, for sure,
3.
WABCRadio.com, 3 o'clock for the Rudy Giuliani Show with his often guests, Ted and Dr. Maria, and his wonderful son, Andrew. God bless America.